Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're unpacking the charming, clever, and honestly surprisingly deep world building of a story called The Golden Key to the Time Kingdom. It's this fascinating tale about a curious girl named Emma, an ancient clock tower, and a hidden realm where time literally comes alive. We're going to look at exactly how this story structures its narrative, how it crafts this wildly whimsical environment, and ultimately, what it teaches us about human connection.
Okay, let's jump right into the hook of the story. Imagine finding a tiny, mysterious note attached to a golden key hidden behind an old clock in your totally ordinary town of Tock Village, and it just says, "Unlock the door between moments." Talk about the perfect inciting incident, right? It begs a question that makes it literally impossible for Emma, or us as the audience really, to just walk away without turning that key.
Section 1. The Discovery. So, to understand how this narrative builds wonder, we have to look at the threshold Emma actually crosses. The stark contrast between these two worlds is just brilliantly executed. On one hand, you have Emma's familiar Tock village, a charming little town with your standard old clock tower and everyday cuckoo clocks. But on the other hand, the second she uses that golden key on a mysterious door at the top of the tower, she's thrust headfirst into the Time Kingdom. We are talking floating clocks drifting through the sky, giant golden gears spinning in the clouds, and literal rivers of sparkling sand. It's this massive, visually stunning shift from the completely ordinary to the absolutely extraordinary.
Section 2. The Problem.
But hey, a fairy tale really isn't complete without a central conflict to drive the plot forward, is it? What's so interesting here is the urgency the story creates right out of the gate. Despite all the breathtaking scenery, Emma immediately notices that things in the Time Kingdom are grinding to a halt. The clocks are stopping. The kingdom is slowly freezing in time. This introduces a ticking clock, pun absolutely intended, to the magic. The wonder is immediately paired with a super high-stakes crisis that demands her attention.
Enter Ticker the Owl, who drops a major bombshell on Emma. The Royal Hourglass is missing. Now, this isn't just any old clock. It's the foundational, magical treasure that keeps time moving throughout the entire kingdom. Without it, everything and everyone will freeze forever. So this sets Emma off on her primary quest to save the kingdom from complete temporal paralysis.
Section 3. The Journey.
Because you absolutely cannot go on an epic quest alone, Emma builds herself a magical little alliance. Just look at this rescue squad. We already met Ticker the Owl, but she's quickly joined by Tick the Rabbit, Tock the Fox, and Glimmer the Butterfly. It's your classic ensemble cast, with each character bringing their own unique energy as they follow a mysterious trail of sparkling golden sand to track down the stolen treasure.
This next part is just brilliant world building. The timeline of their journey perfectly maps out how they traverse this uniquely time-themed landscape. Think about how clever this is. First, it takes them exactly 1 second to cross the Bridge of Seconds. Then, they spend a full 60 minutes exploring the Valley of Minutes. And to top it all off, 24 whole hours riding these floating clock balloons right through the clouds of tomorrow. It's this beautifully structured escalation that ties the actual literal measurement of time directly to the physical journey they have to take to reach the Palace of Time.
Section 4. The Resolution.
After this grand journey, they finally reach the top of the Palace of Time. They find the missing hourglass, but this is exactly where the story delivers a fantastic emotional twist. We are totally led to expect a traditional heist by some sinister, cackling villain, right? But the reality waiting inside the Great Clock of Ages is entirely different. So, who actually took it? The villain is actually just a lonely little dragon named Tempo, and he gives us this absolutely heartbreaking admission. I borrowed it because I wanted everyone to spend time with me. He didn't steal the hourglass out of malice or some grand desire to conquer the kingdom. He literally just wanted people to spend time with him. He was hoarding the kingdom's time because he was hoarding a desperate desire for companionship.
Emma and her friends realize in a heartbeat that this isn't a battle to be won with swords or magic spells. There's no epic boss fight here. They dissolve the conflict through pure empathy. First, they offer their friendship freely, telling Tempo he absolutely doesn't need to hold magical treasures hostage just to make friends. Second, they invite him to join all their future adventures, validating him and making him feel wanted. And finally, with Tempo's heart full and the conflict completely resolved without a single fight, they all return the Royal Hourglass to its golden stand together. And the result? Boom! The second that hourglass touches its stand, the magic surges right back. Every stopped clock begins ticking again. The sparkling sand flows, the floating clocks spin, and time is completely restored. The entire Time Kingdom breaks out into a joyous, massive celebration called the Festival of Time. And right after that, Emma wakes up back in her own bed, clutching that tiny golden key on her nightstand as proof that her incredible adventure was entirely real.
Section 5. The real takeaway.
The story wraps up beautifully with Emma back home, but let's distill what this actually means for us in the real world. Tempo's mistake highlights a trap that honestly anyone can fall into, trying to force a connection. But the story's timeless moral is so perfectly defined here. True friendship is a bond that just cannot be forced or borrowed. It's built on being kind, caring, and freely giving your time to others. You can't capture time to capture friends. You have to freely spend your time to build them.
As we close out this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought to carry into your own daily adventures. The key to the Time Kingdom wasn't actually that golden piece of metal. It was the realization of how precious time is when it's shared. So, how are you going to spend your time today, and who will you share it with? Thanks so much for diving into this incredibly clever story with me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.
For more interesting videos, subscribe our YouTube channel